In short, this is what I have to say. Let us forget fights and grudges and concentrate. Come, let us sit and try to relate. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come, let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together.
So come, let us work hand in hand to build our land, to transform this place we call home. I want to welcome you to this segment. And as I said to the listening audience on the radio, last night I was a bit hoarse, so I didn't do the program last night. I think it's really a spin-off from the rally at Telescope, having interacted with so many people. So I was not on last evening. But nevertheless, we're on that journey to inspire, to educate, to empower, to motivate our people, and to have a conversation, to reason together. I want to start off this morning by playing a piece from Ride Along with Michael Batiste. You know, Michael Batiste is a very controversial person. And he recently reappeared on the NNP platform after quite a while and after maltreatment, political maltreatment by the NNP towards him. I mean, they treated this guy like a little potong dog. They treated him badly, in my belief. So, with nowhere to go, the dog returned to his vomit. And when I say the dog, the political dog, I consider him to be a political potong dog. And he is somewhere in the United States. So he appeared on the Ride Along program with Ian Django Thomas. So Junior asked him about the crowd and, give his feedback on the people who attended that rally. And this is what he had to say. But I'm playing it because I want you to understand that these guys, their mouth is big, they are loud, but they don't have depth. They're outdated and they lack the knowledge, the understanding, the everything. So they should not speak. They should just shut up.
What take on the rally yesterday?
Well, I think it was a decent turnout. All kudos to the National Democratic Congress. I don't feel there were much people from the area of Telescope present at that meeting. I don't know if it's because they are holding some resentment towards the government for unleashing terror on them a few months ago when.
But how did you come to that conclusion, Michael? That there was not much people from Telescope area.
Let me finish and then you prove me otherwise, okay?
I want to know, because that has to be a great sort of AI you have to conclude that the people that are there are not from Telescope.
Well, because of the amount of traffic and the buses and the mobilizing and all of that, obviously.
There was not a lot of buses from outside.
So they walk.
Are you in Grenada right now, Michael? Are you in New York?
No, I'm in New York.
How did you come to that conclusion? Who told you that?
So, well, Junior, I mean,
I want to know. I want to know because I couldn't. I was there. I walked past there a couple times, and I couldn't tell that. I didn't come to that same conclusion. I just saw people.
Well, you don't know the soldiers you don't know the people from the area, so how would you know that? You're a stranger in the area. I mean,
But how did you know? Looking at it from online, did you assess? Do you have like? I was speaking to Mr. Pierre last week, and he said that he have like also AI face recognition software that could identify face.
No, you don't. You don't need that. You could look and you could see where they're coming from. It's a strategic area in telescope where they're at, and you would see the foot traffic of people moving in and out. And when the buses are gone, you would see who's left. I mean, come on. You know the whole thing. You don't have to count them when they come. You look at when they leave and when they're gone. When you're gone, you see who's left, and then you know, well, gee, everybody gone. Look like I said, everybody gone, so thing done.
Right. So, sometimes folks, you have to understand these guys, right? This guy is in the United States of America. He was not at the rally, and he doesn't have what it takes to hire people to go and identify everybody who comes to an NDC rally and, having a knowledge of where they come from, whether they're from Telescope or somewhere else. But this is what this guy is saying. So while he admitted the crowd was really great, reasonable, a good crowd, but he then zoomed in to Telescope, and he knows what he's doing because Telescope is part of Emlyn Pear's constituency, the so-called leader of the NNP. So he wanted to make the point that people there, he don't think a lot of people from there came out. But then Junior pressed him. I said, but how you know that? What technology you have to prove that? Junior actually exposed the guy, right? And if I go back a little.
What was your take on the rally yesterday?
Well, I think it was a decent turnout. Kudos to the National Democratic Congress. I don't feel there were much people from the area of Telescope present at that meeting. I don't know if it's because they are holding some resentment towards the government for the unleashing terror on them a few months ago when.
But how did you come to that conclusion, Michael? That there was not much people from Telescope area.
Let me finish and then you prove me otherwise, okay?
I want to know because that has to be a great sort of AI you have to conclude that the people that are there are not from Telescope.
Well, because of the amount of traffic and the buses and the mobilizing and all of that, obviously.
It's sad because these guys are given a platform, and many a times the host or hostess kind of believe they're knowledgeable and that they can add something to the discourse, to the topic, to the conversation. But when you listen to them, they're empty. This guy is not here in Grenada. And he doesn't have the technology to know all who is from Telescope and to identify them during the nighttime in the rally of the NDC. You talking about a rally that looks like this, right?
It has been 4 years and 3 weeks since Deacon Mitchell was elected as political leader of the National Democratic Congress. And while addressing party faithfuls on Sunday, he said he accepted the position with a clear vision.
We are acknowledging 4 years of purpose, 4 years of believing in our people, believing in the National Democratic Congress, and in the future of Grenada. When I was afforded the opportunity to be made leader of this great institution, I accepted this responsibility with humility, but with a clear vision. We had to renew, we had to rebuild, and we had to re-energize our party so that it would not just become a political force, but a political party that was going to transform Grenada and transform the politics of Grenada and transform the politics of the region and of the Caribbean.
While he reflected on the 2022 election and the outcome, Prime Minister Mitchell said he remained fired up with purpose.
3.5 years ago, the people said enough was enough. Enough stagnation. Enough excuses. Enough politics without purpose. And you took a lead on, you took a chance on me, and you took a chance on the team that is behind me. So tonight, I stand before you humble, grateful, but make no mistake, I am as fired up as the yellow you are wearing. I am as fired up as the lights of Telescope, and I renew my commitment to let you know that we are just getting started.
Some party followers also spoke to MTV News regarding their satisfaction with the NDC's performance.
That's the best I see from since after the revolution. And everything going just reasonable. It could be 100%, but I'll give it 95%.
I think this place is headed for the best. For what I see, I love it.
As far as I see and as far as I know, NDC all the way with me, and that's the way the people going, so NDC all the way, NMP must go.
Right. So again, folks, that's the crowd. That's the amount of people. I mean, you can't see the folks who are in the road and so on. I was there. So I saw the amount of people who were in the road itself, because you have people selling drinks in their vans, and you go to rallies, you will purchase a drink or two, you're going to meet people, you're going to socialize. That's what it is. So there are a lot of people in the roadways, but the camera not able to capture that unless it's the drone. And many a times the drone focus primarily on the front of the rally. But I am saying Michael Batiste could tell you how many people from Telescope came out in the rally. And I laugh because this guy, he knows what he's doing. Don't fool yourself.
What take on the rally yesterday?
Don't fool yourself.
Well, I think it was a decent turnout. All kudos to the National Democratic Congress. I don't feel there were much people from the area of Telescope present at that meeting. I don't know if it's because they're holding some resentment towards the government for the unleashing terror on them a few months ago when.
But how did you come to that conclusion, Michael? That there was not much people from Telescope area.
Let me finish, and then you prove me otherwise. Okay.
I want to know, because that has to be a great sort of AI you have to conclude that the people that are there are not from Telescope.
Well, because of the amount of traffic and the buses and the mobilizing and all of that, obviously.
There was not a lot of buses from outside.
So they walk.
Are you in Grenada right now, Michael? Or are you in New York?
No, I'm in New York.
How did you come to?
So Michael Batiste is in New York, and this guy in New York has concluded that not many people from Telescope came out. And he asked him, but how you know that? Do you have some technology, face recognition technology? And do you know the people from Telescope, every one of them? But that's how these guys operate. And they go on programs speaking as though they have facts and they are the authority. They have a monopoly on ideas. And that's how they operate. That's how they function. And when you grill them further, you realize that they're empty. But they get a platform to vent, to speak, and they think that they are relevant in the scheme of politics in the country. And that is why I have been saying they're out of touch. They just don't know what is happening in this time and period. They're outdated. So when I analyze the crowd and the rally, I told you I never went there to look at the amount of people who came out. I'm not interested in that. I am deeper than that, because both political parties could mobilize and organize a fairly good crowd to a rally. That's insignificant. But what I went there to look for were certain things like the base, the demographic, the gender. I saw a lot of women, there, a lot of females. Wherever you have a lot of females in a political organization, you could bet your bottom dollar that that political organization will live on. It's viable. And then I looked at the demographic, right? The actual base of the NDC came out. Our people came out in numbers, bearing in mind that the NDC did not spend a lot of money on buses per constituency. They did not do that because this is not election time. This is not, stupid season, so to speak. It's ordinary times. So you don't want to spend too much money on buses, and when election time comes around, you want that same money to spend on plenty buses. So they did not spend a lot of money on buses. So bearing in mind, they did not do that. The people, they took their own transport and they came to the rally. The turnout was great, impressive. But the base of the NDC came out. The base of the NDC was reactivated. It means that the programs, the policies, the initiatives, they are reaching the NDC base. Because historically, the NDC has always had problems with connecting with their base. Because when the NDC gets into power, they believe they're there to serve everybody and represent everybody and deliver for everybody. And then their people get left behind because you can't serve everybody. You can't really represent everybody. You will believe so. You would think so. You can't do things for everybody. It sounds nice and you might be all thinking that you could do it. You can't. We don't have the amount of resources to do it. So you have to then prioritize. You have to then say, it's a numbers game. I have 5,000 registered people in my constituency who could vote, and I want 2,501 out of that to vote for me. Therefore, I will do as much as I can for that 2,501 or 2,600 people. I will identify them to make sure that they are my people and that they are supporting me, and I will try to please them. I will try to reach out to them and help them in any way that I can and keep them in my corner. While at the same time, if I'm a government minister, then I represent the whole country as a minister of government. But when it comes to the real politics, that's not the case. So NDC has always had that problem where they try to please everybody and then their people get left behind. But now What we are seeing is a situation where our people, our supporters, the base is excited because the programs, the policies, the initiatives, it's reaching them. The work, the opportunities, it is reaching them. And particularly now, that is what you want. You want, in the last 2 years of your term, to reach your supporters, to give your supporters stuff, to help your supporters, to make sure that they're fired up and excited. So that was a very good sign. Very good sign to me, based on what I observe as I go through the crowd, looking at faces, identifying the base. So it augurs well for the NDC. So, but I was on the ground. I was there. Michael Batiste, he's in New York. And this guy formed an opinion, but he's making it sound as though it's fact. And he's venting, speaking as though he knows, as though he's been there, as though he was able to identify the people who are there. And there are people who don't know Michael Batiste. There are still people who don't know this guy, this political porthong, in my belief. They don't know him. So they may believe what he's saying. And that's how they function. That is exactly how they function. They go on platforms and they say all kinds of stuff. And you wonder, you say, but wait, this guy was there. But I'm glad that Junior George asked him, where are you, Michael? And Michael Batiste said, New York. He's not in Grenada and he was not there. But here it is. First, this guy is outdated. And many of the others, they are not even factoring the technology and the real fact that the rally was carried live on social media. It was carried live. So the person in their home, the person on work, the person with their mobile phone, the person who decided they're not going in person to the rally, they stayed home and they looked at it. So they were able to take it in. Because let me be honest with you, many of the people who go to rallies, if you ask them what you heard, what you gather from all the speakers, they might tell you one or two things. Or some will tell you they're drinking, they're socializing, they didn't hear anything much. So the people who are not at the rally, they may have consumed more information than the people who are actually there at the rally. And that is why the messaging is important. That is why the producing of that rally, the production aspect, has to be on point. So the NDC did well. The majority of speakers, they were short, they were straight to the point. It was very good. So on Facebook alone, the NDC Facebook page streamed the rally live. And political rallies seldomly attract people who are not passionate about something, who are not passionate about a party, or who are not interested in the party and the message, and because it's politics is not attractive in terms of these kind of long rallies, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. And I could tell you because I live on social media. So for a person to view a political rally, they have to be interested in it. The party or the person speaking, the prime minister, or, somebody. or some messaging. They have to be interested in something because it's not a sexy thing. It is not so attractive as some gossip or some football match or some basketball game or so. So you have to understand that. And the mere fact that 92,000 people, 92,000 people viewed the rally on the NDC Facebook page. Well, it was shared on other people's page, but the main page bringing the rally, streaming it, was the NDC Facebook page. 92,000 people. And then on the YouTube channel, the NDC YouTube channel, because it was streamed concurrently, Facebook NDC page, the YouTube channel NDC, and Right Along his Facebook page. So Right Along has about 43 or so thousand people who viewed the rally. All right. And then the NDC Facebook page has 92,000 people who viewed the rally. So you're actually talking about 134,000 people viewed the rally on Facebook. 134,000 people. And then you had 17 or 18,000 people viewing the rally on YouTube, on the NDC Facebook channel. Sorry, NDC YouTube channel. So you're talking about 150 something thousand people viewing the rally, listening to the rally, following the rally. That's a huge number. Bearing in mind that politics is not this sexy subject. And rallies are long. Rallies not 2 minutes or 10 minutes or an hour. Rallies are 2 and 3 and 4 hours. They're long. And the mere fact that people stayed on, the mere fact that they listen, it says a lot. So it's not just about the people who were there. Because I can tell you, when you go to rallies and the rally finishes, and somebody asks you, but what you heard, what was discussed, many people don't know. They have to go back on the live, check it out, and then get a sense as to what was discussed. And that's the reality. And people who go to rallies, they could attest to that. They could tell you that's the reality. That's the reality, folks. But these guys, they're out of touch. They don't understand the power of social media. They don't understand how relevant social media is. You know, there is this other guy, Justin Pay, I think his name is. I laugh because Justin Pay, from what is being circulated, I don't know if Justin Pay is the one who did this, but his name is on it. All right? His name is featured on it. He calls himself a pollster by training and that kind of stuff. And this guy put up this, and I say, but wait. Justin Pay is saying that 3,449 plus people attended the rally. That's what he's claiming. And he's saying out of that, new faces identified make up 31%. But how this guy knows what technology he has to identify the new faces, let's say from Boucherjou to Telescope, or maybe another rally. What technology he has to determine that. So sometimes these people publish stuff and you sometimes laugh. He says people came from St. Andrew, it made up about 50%, St. Patrick 20%, St. George 18%, St. David 7%. What about St. Mark? What about St. John? I mean, something has to be wrong. I don't know if he's the one who actually did this, but his name is all over it. It doesn't have to be from him. So I would give him the opportunity to come out and say, this is not from me. I didn't produce that, right? I would give him that opportunity. And then I would come back and say, hey, this publication is false. It didn't come from Justin Pay. But I am bringing this to you because you out there have to be very, very careful with the information that you consume. You have to be very, very careful. The source of the information that you consume or that you're consuming. Because a lot of people, they're putting stuff out there. And to be honest with you, you have to go through it 100 times. And you have to check the source. And you have to question certain things. Question it. It's important. Because these guys, they are not in Grenada. They're not here. The majority of them who want to comment, who want to give all kind of analysis, who want to put all kind of stuff out there. They're not in this place. They never attended the rally and so on. And if you ask, did you actually commission a poll? You had people on the ground? What technology, what data base, what software you use, what? They can't tell you. They can't. But I am not saying, because I did not see a signed document. What I showed you there, Justin Perry's mention at the bottom of it. But somebody could do that. I looked at his Facebook page. I didn't see it. I don't know if he has another page or something. So it doesn't have to be from him. It could be false. It could be somebody who prepared this thing and threw it out there to make him look bad. It could be. I don't know. But I'm giving him the opportunity to say, hey, this is false. This did not come from me. I'm giving him that opportunity. And I would be glad to come back and say, hey, it did not come from Justin Pay. It came from somebody else. But I am saying to you, the viewers and the listeners, you have to be extremely, extremely careful with the information that is up on social media and all about the police. Because when you check the source, sometimes you waste your read. You should not even look at it. So we have to be very, very careful where that is concerned. But all in all, I am happy that the NDC was able to organize a massive rally. Again, when last has the NNP organized a rally? Because the one before, the Boucherjou rally organized by the NDC, that the NNP organized. Remember, the NNP organized some rally in Boucherjou and it bust, right? It bust. I am saying, folks, it is important for you to understand the NNP is scared to organize anything of that magnitude. They're scared. One, they do not have the resources to do such an event. And if they have it, they want to stockpile it for when the election time comes around. But for The NDC, we're organized. The NDC is organized and have what it takes to put on events like these. All right? So big up your whole self. Big up your whole self. And look, I say to people, sometimes it's good not to say anything than to say stuff that is not factual, that is not grounded in actual data and facts, like real data. Sometimes it's just good to just keep quiet, because you go to a rally as a supporter because you claim you're a supporter of the NDC. You go to the rally and then you go on social media and you put up a huge comment. But there were people who were at the rally and they may know you, they might be following you on Facebook or social media. Then they comment and they say, hey, what you're saying is not true, it's not factual, it's not grounded in facts. And then you get upset and you come on this platform that I am on and you say, well, we got to encourage the people to unite and to this and to that and not criticize and not condemn and not, but you actually light the fire. You light the fire. So what you expect would happen? People then would respond and say, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't. And you don't know what you're looking for. You go to a rally and you believe that everybody should come to that rally. Every supporter of the NDC should come to the rally. That's what you believe. And you are saying, well, the rally didn't have this and didn't have that. And you never factor in technology. People are at home viewing and following. In fact, the first time that people are now analyzing rallies or thinking about rallies with technology in it is because I spoke about it on this program, because I reference it. All who is pollsters and analysts, and they never factor that in. They never saw that as important. But I started the conversation so you can understand we're living in a different epoch, a different time, where technology is it. A person doesn't have to come to a rally in person, in actual physical, person and show up and no. They could get the rally live, being at home, looking at Facebook or YouTube or whatever. So I mentioned that. I brought that into the whole scheme of things so you can understand it. Because you have to. We're no longer in 2001 or 2002, 2003. We're in 2025. 25 years after, 23 years after. So it's different. So you have to factor all of those things in. You have to. When you're analyzing rallies, and when you go there, you can't look for crowd, just crowd. Because both political parties, once they have the resources, could mobilize the same crowd or 10,000 people in a playing field. If they push hard enough, both of them could do it. So when I go to those rallies, I look for certain things. The Busheju rally, there was a lot of young people, a lot of women in the Busheju rally, a lot of fresh faces, new people in the Busheju rally. The Telescope rally, however, in St. Andrew, the base of the NDC was more obvious. They came out in numbers. That is important. Very important. Right? So, my dear friend, Dr. Peters. She's saying, Kem, party supporters should demonstrate unity on social media among their members. But, my dear, you cannot say you want them to demonstrate unity when you are not demonstrating same. So you went to the rally. You decided to give your commentary. You decided to post X and post Y. What you expect? They would then, the people who attended or who viewed or who were there, they would comment. They would call you out. So, look, you could disagree on certain things. And that is why I said this morning, sometimes it's good not to say anything. Sometimes it's good to just remain quiet. Sometimes silence is gold and speech is silver. You have to be smarter than that. There are certain times you don't, run to comment and run to post and you just, in fact, these days, I would check out different pages, check out different comments, and not comment. I could comment. I could share my opinion. But you see, opinion is like the shit in the toilet. Everybody letting it go, and everybody could flush it. It's all about. Opinion is like that. It's not fact. And I don't have to respect your opinion. And you don't have to respect mine. Who tell you that I have to respect your opinion? That's an old saying. That yes, you don't have to like it, but you have to respect it. I don't have to respect your opinion. That's your opinion. Good for you, but I don't have to respect it. No, I could have a different one. And I can challenge your opinion and say to you that your opinion is whack. It's shit. It's nonsense. It's simple like that. There are a lot of old saying and people repeat it from time to time. Hey, don't fool yourself. So a person might call a radio program and speak or say something. And then if somebody calls back and rebut or says something about what the person says, then the person will call back and say, well, that's my opinion and you have to respect it. And I don't have to respect your damn opinion. I don't. And the person sharing their view is their view. But if I share my view based on what you say, it's also my view. It is what it is. So sometimes it's good to just remain quiet. Sometimes. It's not everything you comment, everything you run and post. Because there were people who were there at the rally. And they too observe certain things. But you believe they're going to run and comment and no. Sometimes it's good to just shut your trap. Sometimes. Because if you go to a rally and you're just looking for a crowd, you'll be fooled. NNP, during Keith Mitchell time, had one of the biggest rally twice when they lost the election. The one in Full Pasture, I think it was, who came by Biddy Man? Was it Biddy Man? Either Biddy Man or, I don't think it was Buju Banton, no. I think it was Biddy Man and, big artist. And I personally went there. That's before the election of 2008. And when I see children, when I see people I then see what NNP done. Even if the crowd was huge, but it full up a little children. Full up a little children. Somebody says Barry Harmon, Barry's. I just can't remember which one of them, but want to believe it was BD Man. I want to believe it was BD Man. And then the election of 2022, the popcorn show, the popcorn rally, the con didn't pop. No, I'm talking about the two elections when NNP lost. All right, so somebody saying Boujou, somebody telling me it's Barris, somebody telling me it's BD Man. But anyways, one of them, I want to believe it was BD Man more. Because Barris can't attract the young people the way they showed up at Full Pasture. And I was actually there. I went, there to observe the whole movements. That was just before the 2008 election. All right. And then just before the 2022 election, popcorn. So the con didn't pop. And these are two huge rallies. But NNP lost. So rallies are not really anything to say this party going to win or that party going to win. Last night, for example, I laughed. I laughed because there were people online following what's happening in St. Vincent. And they're judging it based on the rallies, the two rallies. And they're saying, well, this one going to win, that one going to win. The election is won on the day. And if you have your ground game right, I'm not saying that things that you will do before the actual day would not aid or help you with your victory. But if you have your ground game right and your machinery in place and you do what you're supposed to do, victory will be secured. But you would have a rally. Anybody goes to a rally. There are people who are not even registered going to rally. I remember there was once the NNP say to people who were coming to their rallies, you have to prove that you are registered before going on the free bus. That does not take away the fact that people are going to just go walk or get their own vehicle and go to the rally. But they decided they're not busing people who are not registered to go to that rally. But instead, people who are registered is who they want to go to the rally. All right? So rallies are not things that would move me. And folks, let me tell you this. I am not commenting on regional elections or elections that's taking place in other islands. I'm not commenting on that, and I'm not getting involved in it at that level. I may have been involved recently, but I'm not even telling you where I went and what I did. Because I don't want you to start forming an opinion. I stay away from that. Whoever wins in St. Vincent, I wish them all the best. Whoever wins in St. Lucia, I wish them all the best. I know which party is the sister party to NDC in St. Lucia. I know which party is the sister party to NDC in St. Vincent. I mean, there are some people who don't know. All they see, yellow, and yellow is the code, and yellow is the code. There are some people who don't understand and who don't know which party is the sister party of NDC, the party that they support here in Grenada. Some of them don't know that. All right? All they see is yellow, and that party is yellow, and they bad for yellow. They don't know. Most of those parties regionally are affiliated to one. Right? So, that is why I stay away from this regional thing and the politics there and the politics here. I try to stay in my corner. We have our own work to do here in Grenada. And I maintain that. I maintain that. All right. My good friend is having a fundraiser. All right. So Debbie, I know Debbie sent me Deb's, right, Deborah Graham. She sent me that flyer. So PD2, Montrose, Dega, Boshed. So Dega, Boshed, they are having a fundraiser, a breakfast fundraiser on Friday, the 28th of November. That's Friday coming from 6 a.m. Friday? Wow. Friday morning. But that's St. Patrick. All right. That was Saturday, but Friday. So they have roast bakes, fried breadfruit, fish cakes, saltfish sauce, fried jacks, stewed turkey, cocoa tea, lemongrass tea, Tanya log. All right. So they have it that fundraiser, and it's all towards helping a young lady, a young NDC supporter who is battling cancer. All right. So go there and support. So that is on Friday morning from 6 a.m. Mount Rose. That's Dega Boshed, starting at 6 a.m. All right. Go there and support. Thank you, Debbie, for sharing that with me. All right. Thank you. All right. Greetings. So somebody saying, hey, Kem, greetings. It was BD Man. All right. It was BD Man and Trini Soka star Maximus Dan. Yes. So yeah, and I could my brain, I have a good brain in terms of remembering stuff. So it was BD Man. All right, BD Man. So those two rallies. Yeah. Tio is saying to me, Cam, don't forget our yes, so St. George Northwest, they have a fundraiser too. Yeah. So Tio, you're right. Tio, you're absolutely right. St. Mark also has a fundraiser too, St. Mark. They have a fundraiser too. All right. December the 6th. Which one is that one? That's Victoria. So there's a breakfast sale in Victoria on the 6th of December starting at 7 a.m. Tanya log $10. Next to the Anglican Church, Victoria St. Mark. Fried bakes, boiled eggs, sausage, fried cake, fish cake, saltfish sauce, fried breadfruit, green salad, and so on. Tanya log. All right. Nice. I know Tio, yeah. So Tio, Tio, she sent me something to some time back. All right. It sent, right. So St. George Northwest NDC branch, they have a fundraiser breakfast sale on the 29th, Saturday coming, starting at 6 a.m. until. So they have fried bakes, coconut bakes, fried chicken, saltfish, smoked herring, fried breadfruit, fried plantain, fish cakes, boiled eggs, sausages, and so on. Where would that be? Good food, great vibes, community spirit, opposite the Melville Street gas station. All right, so that's in town. After you pass the fish market, then you have the gas station. All right, so the gas station there, $15. Go there and support them. All right, so, okay, nice. So, folks, I want to wish you all the best. All right, I want to wish you all the best